The time was 100 p.m. It was a Monday, the first working day of the week. Ad had left her office early with intention of visiting her lawyers at EOI Lagos. Her driver was trying so hard to get to EO in time and also take her that home. But this was proven difficult because, as usual, the Lagos traffic was keeping them from reaching their destination. Please, James, try harder. I try. James tries harder. Need to see the lawyer for something very important. If we waste too much time on traffic, he would have closed from work by the time we get there, Ad said to her driver. I am trying, Ma. The traffic is so bad, but I will try to get you there in time. James replied. He soon saw an opening in the congested road and decided to exploit it. That was how he was able to arrive at the lawyer's office by 1:30 p.m. Thank you very much, James, Ad said as she stepped down from her car. She walked into Bara's office. He was. Ada walks in already waiting for him. You sure about what you were about to do? This could bring division between you and your husband if he finds out that you did this to him. He's going to be really mad. You have to think about this carefully. If I am a husband and my wife does what we're about to do, I would chase her away. If I find out the journey you are embarking on is not a good one, I will advise you retrace your steps. Not that we have not gone too far, the lawyer said to Ada. I have made up my mind and there is no going back. I have given you the mandate to execute. You are my lawyer and you have to do as I say. I will have to look for another lawyer to help me do the job. Ada, that tells the lawyer. Without meaning words, all right, but how do you know your husband is about selling the house? Did he tell you about it, and have you asked him how much it will cost? Bari asked. Oh, you are asking too many questions. Bara, I have said I want to buy the house since my husband has put it up for sale. He is my husband, and he told me he wants to sell the house. Our son is really sick, and we want to take him abroad for medical treatment. That is why he's selling the house, so as to save our son's life. However, I want to be the one to buy the house. I don't want another person to buy from us because I love that house very much. And D said with all seriousness, but madam, since you have the money your husband is looking for, why not just give it to him to use and take your son abroad for medical treatment? Why do you want to secretly buy your husband's house? I don't think it is proper, the lawyer said. I have said it. If you don't want to do it, I will simply look for another lawyer. What is it safe? And please, I want this deal concluded this week. I want you to approach my husband and make it known to him that you have found a buyer for the house. Start the process for the paperworks. Use the name of my secret real estate company to buy the house for me. My husband is not aware that I have a real estate company. Use the company as the buyer. I will make phones available as soon as the deal is completed. As instructed. At that said, she stood and left the office. Her son Uch was diagnosed of a serious kidney disease, and his situation was deter. A husband had taken the decision to fly his son abroad for medical treatment. The problem is that he didn't have enough money. He was going to sell his house to raise money. Ad down art very rich, but her husband, hardly Ada, is very rich, knows about it. She has a real estate company and also a transportation company with fleets of buses that run interstate. She has decided that no other person will buy the house her husband was about to sell. I have the money. Why will I be alive and another person will buy my husband's house? Ad asked as she got into her car to go home. After seeing the lawyer, she concluded that the best was for her to buy the house from her husband and keep it for herself. Later that week, the lawyer contacted Ada's husband and they finalized the deal about the house. The lawyer contacted Ada's husband. Ada paid 75 million N for the 2-story building. The money was paid using the name of a secret real estate company, which her husband knows nothing about. You and your family have just 2 weeks to move out of the house. My client wants to use the house for something else, and she doesn't want anyone to occupy the houses from next 2 weeks. Please prepare to move your things. She lives abroad and she's coming into Nigeria to inspect the building in 2 weeks, Bar Eek said to A. As soon as payment for the house was made. I can assure you, you don't have any problem at all about that. We'll be moving out as soon as we find an apartment to rent. Is it said to the lawyer at night when they had gone to bed. Ada told her husband that she had at night. Ada told her husband found a house for them to rent. Really, where is the house? Her husband asked. It is located in Leh. I have personally visited the house and I found it good for us. It is 1-story building with 4 bedrooms and it goes for 10 million naira per year. It is cheap and we can manage that until things get better for us again. Said all right, we'll go and pay for it tomorrow, her husband replied. As they both fell asleep, the house Ada was talking about also belongs to her. She bought it 2 months ago using her real estate company. The next day, Ad and her husband drove to the house. Ad had informed her lawyer that husband was coming to pay for the house, so he made himself available. My friend, I see you guys own a lot of houses in the city. Of the lawyer who worked out the deal, Logos said, when he saw that it was the same lawyer who had worked out the deal when he sold his own house. Yes, sir, we are a big estate. The lawyer replied. Ed's husband transferred the 10 million and for the house rent into an account provided by the lawyer. It was his wife that got the alert the next day. And his family moved into the building, and that was how Ada became the landlady to our own family. I hope my husband doesn't find out. Well, even if he does, I simply don't care, Ada said. The plan to fly Uche abroad for treatment has started in earnest. He was to be flown to India, where Drs. Lagos had referred him to. His father had applied for visas for himself, Van, and they were told to wait for 2 weeks for it to be ready, but they had one more interview to attend to finalize the visa process. Bo had her own plans to further ruin things for her husband. The truth is that she doesn't even want Ut to be treated abroad at all. She wants him to die. She decided to take steps to scupper the journey. One afternoon, she picked up her phone and called a gang leader introduced to her by one of our friends in the city of P. She picked up her phone and called Lagos. I have a job for you. That said over the phone, she had left her workplace and gone to her estate company, where she also had an office. Where can I meet you? I am fully ready to do the job. Just mention your location and I will meet you there. Cheng, the gang leader said in reply. Come over to give me a call once you get here. I will direct you on where exactly to meet me. I will be in my car waiting. At that said, she picked up her handbag and stepped out of the office. Her driver was already waiting in the car. She opened the car and took the B seat and told the driver to move. Once outside the gate, she told the driver to park by the roadside so she could wait for someone. It was not long before the gang leader told her again. I am here in a COI where I can see you. Just turn. Can I find you? He said in a horsey voice. Just look, by your left. I can see you. Just turn. You will see a black Jeep, packed by the RO side. At that side, not long after. The gang leader knocked at the tinted windscreen of the car and at that opened the door for him to come in. I want you to kidnap someone and I want the job to be perfectly done. No mistakes, please. I want it done tomorrow. I want you to kidnap someone morning at set working. As soon as he took a seat in the car, don't worry, just give me the details I need. Give me the person's address, a picture of the person, 3 million NRA, and the job will be done with immediate effect. Ain said with a mischievous smile. I have 2 million N here. When the I have 2 million N here job is done, I will give you the remaining 1 million. The person I want to kidnap is a family member, and his name is Uchi. He'll be going for a visa interview tomorrow. He's presently at the hospital receiving treatment. However, you will have to stand outside the hospital so you can pick him as soon as my husband drives him out from the facility. Here's the name of the hospital. My son will be leaving the place tomorrow at exactly 8 a.m. Please know, my son will be leaving. Mistakes, kidnap only him and not my husband. Once the job is done, give me a phone call, then I will give you further directives. Adaha, she was chewing gum and blowing bubbles as she talked. All right, consider it done, the gang leader said as he leaves the car with a smile. After picking the money, dropped for him on the care ad that was driven home by a driver. When she got home, she saw her husband gathering documents. And in preparation for the visa interview the next day. Have you seen all the documents? She asked her husband. Why serving him food? That she asked her husband. Why serving him night? Yes, my dear. I just pray we will get the visa after the interview. The boy has spent a long time in the hospital and he has suffered a lot. I can't wait to get him the help he needs in India. His health condition makes me worried, he replied, and that has saved him across soup and pounded. Why he loved it. As he swallowed lumps after lumps, he took one chalk of meat and put it in her mouth. She chewed it happily. I pray he gets the visa as well. The boy has suffered so much and I pity him every day. I don't want him to die. He's such a lovely boy. That said, as she sat beside her husband with her hands on his shoulder to suit his nurse. He had been through a lot since Uch fell sick. And he looked stressed as they went to bed that night. Sent a message to working to make sure there are no mistakes in the operation. I don't want this operation to fail. It is very important to me. And a lot of money will be made from it. Make sure not to mess it up for me. Remember the hospital I told you about? I remember to be at the gate at the exit time. And also remember, or don't kidnap my husband, only my son should be kidnapped. No mistakes, please. Ada said in the WhatsApp message she quickly sent, walking before falling asleep the next day. Things happened. The next day, things happened exactly as a dad had planned them. The kidnappers, who were heavily armed, picked when he was being driven out of the hospital by his father as soon as he was kidnapped. Ada forwarded her husband's phone number to the kidnappers with a clear instruction for them to demand for a ram of 60 million N. Tell him to send 60 million N. Cash and his son will be released, or else he will never see his son again. Tell him he must not involve the police, Ad said in a message he sent to AN. He rushed him and sad kidnappers called him. He rushed him and sat tearfully in one of the sofas in the living room. One of his hands was used to wage his chin mole. He was a shadow of himself when he thought he had sold his house to raise money to treat his son's kidnappers. Are now asking for the money. His spirit was crushed. How can I give them the same money I'm supposed to use and take my child abroad for medical treatment? This is so painful, and the boy is sick. He can't spend many days in the kidnapper's den. He's going to die if I leave him there. As said to his wife that evening, "Oh my God, you do this one. Oh no, my enemies have finally succeeded. This is so sad, but my darling, my enemies have finally succeeded, husband. If you ask me, I will say, let's just give them this money. I don't want my son to die. He's so precious to me and you know it. Please send them the 60 million. NRA, it is better to have alive here with us than for him to die in the kidnapper's den. Send them the morning. We will eventually find another way to raise funds for his treatment." Ad that said to her husband with tears in her eyes. Of course, crocodile tears. "Oh my wife, please stop crying. I will not die in the kidnapper's day, but I need to think about this carefully tonight. I will take a decision tomorrow morning," is said that night. They didn't sleep at all. "I am going to give them the money. I don't have any option. I am going to give the money because I don't want anything to happen to our son. I will go to the bank, cash the money, and sent it to them." As it said that early morning he was sitting on the edge of the bed while his wife sat beside him with her head bowed mournfully, as it felt so bitter and powerless. "I am so sad right now. 60 million N is a huge amount of I don't want to lose you money, but there is nothing we can do. They have warned us not to involve the police. Please be careful when you are going to give them the money." "I don't want to lose you," Ada said tearfully, but in her heart she was actually laughing at her husband. She has vowed to bring him to his knees and gradually make him a POA. "I will be careful, my love. Let me start going. I will keep you posted. Don't worry, everything will be fine," is said. He went to the wardrobe and took out a shirt and a trouser, dressed up, and left the house. He drove to the bank and cashed the money, loaded it in a large bag, and headed to the address the kidnappers told. Once he got to the location, he brought out his phone and called the kidnappers. "I am here with the morning, please. I need you to release my son now," Isa said, but the gang leader was quick to tell him he was not in any position to tell them what to do. "You can't command us. We are in charge here. We can see you. We know where you are standing. Just drop the bag of money and gradually step back. Don't do anything funny, because if you try to be smart, we will finish you," AI threatened. He quickly dropped the bag of money and did as he was told. "When are you going to release the boy? He's sick and he can't spend another night with you. I need to take him to the hospital for treatment. Please, can you release him so that I can go with him? I have brought the money. There's no need keeping the boy again. Or do you want him to die?" he asked the kidnappers with an emotional voice, but they paid him no attention. "You can't dictate to us. Besides, we have to check the money you brought to be sure it is not fake, and to make sure everything is complete as we agreed. Then we can release your son and tell you where to pick him up. Just drop the money and go back home," the kidnapper said. He hung up before Isa got the chance to say anything else. "These people want my son to die," Uaz said when he had dropped the money, and go back to where he packed his car. He opened the car door and stepped in. He listened in what he had dropped. The driver was sweating like a Christmas goat because of the pressure and emotional stress he was experiencing. As it turned the air conditioner in the car so as to receive fresh air. "If this boy dies, I won't be able to forgive myself. I have to do everything in my power to rescue the boy and keep him alive." He had refused to go back home as instructed by the kidnappers. He vowed in his heart to stay put in his car until his son was released to him. But no long after phone rang, and it was the kidnappers. "Come back to the spots where you drew the money and carry your son." The gang leader told him his heart was lifted. He jumped out of the car and ran to the place. He saw his son, which is standing and waiting for him. "Oh my," he jumped out of the son. "I am sorry this happened to you. From now on, I won't let this kind of thing happen to you again," Iz said to his son as he led him into the car and drove him straight to the hospital. "I have lost the money, but at least I have my son back." He navigated the hospital streets and drove into the premises. O was admitted again for medical checkup. Luckily, he navigated the good condition, at least not worse than he was before the kidnap incident. He did not go home but instead spent the night at the hospital with his son. His wife at that L came to join them but left immediately after daybreak. The following day is started. Planning on how to raise money to get treatment for his selling his shares. "Son, I want to sell the shares I have in my company. You know I own 85% shares of the company, but in view of what just happened I will have to sell them," Izzet tells his wife, who was too glad to hear what her husband was saying. "He is actually a hotel who owns 5 big hotels. I am so proud of you. My husband, you are doing your best for us, son. How I wish I have money. I would have given it to you to use instead of you selling off your assets. This makes me so sad, but God knows best." At that, lamented in Washi, she has already started planning on how to buy the shares her husband was about to sell. When she finished talking with her husband, she picked her phone and sent a message to the manager of our real estate. "FM, there is a company I want us to buy. The company is selling 85% shares. We are going to buy it and expand our operations into hotels and hospitalities. Please prepare a BEID for it. I will send you the details." And that tells the manager in the message, "I will buy everything you own. Your company will become mine. I will send you teach you a lesson so that in your next life you will not joke with a woman like me." Ada said in her heart. When she finished sending the message, she went to bed and slept peacefully, not a bit worried about Tachich, like a husband who finds it hard to sleep the next day. Ain the next day called her. She met with him, collected the 60 million naira which her husband paid as ransom to rescue Uch out of happiness. She gave Ain 10 million naira. "My next deal is to make sure I buy the company my husband is about to sell. My next deal must not fail at all. I will make him poor. He will learn a bitter lesson from me," Dad said as she dragged the bag of money into her car. She drove off to her office. She put the money on her table and started arranging it with happiness. "The deal is done. We have bought the shares in your husband's The Deal is Done company, which now belongs to you. You are now the owner of all the hotels your husband built. Congratulations, Ma." The manager in Das real estate company said to her 1 week after her husband announcing his intention to sell his controlling shares, and that was overwhelmed with joy when she heard the news. "Yet this is a good news. My dream is gradually coming to pass. I will make my husband poor and rich. I will teach him a lesson." At that said in her heart immediately. She dropped herself to the restaurant to have a good drink and food. She dropped the phone to celebrate her accomplishment. Is he on his part realized 150 million NRA selling the shares in his companies? He was not aware. He realized 150 million. His wife was the one who bought the shares. At the same time, he was happy that he now has the money to take his son Uchi to the hospital abroad. "I am so happy to be able to get my son the treatment he needs." Izzy said he has been able to secure a visa for Hisu. He said he has been able, his son and himself, and they are set to travel to India. All is now set for them to travel to India the next day. So he went to the hospital to pick up so that they can get prepared. He got home in the evening and placed the travel documents in his private room. When he finished, he got home in the evening, eating his evening meals. He went into his room, packed his bags, he put the visa and all the travel documents in his briefcase and zipped it in his heart. All was set to move the following morning. Anda was the one who helped to, the following morning, drive them to the airport before going to work immediately. She dropped them off. She turned back and started going to her office. When she got to her office, she got a call from her husband. "Please, did you see our travel? They have suddenly got missing documents. The visas, the flight tickets, and our passports. I can't find them in my bag. I am sure I kept them in my bag yesterday night. They have suddenly got missing. Did you see the document?" As he asked, the sound of his voice shows he was in distress, because they can't possibly travel without visas. "And the flight tickets? I didn't see them. I mean, I don't even know the color of the document. You remember, you didn't show me when you returned from the embassy, didn't you? Put them in your bag. Where did you keep them yesterday night?" Ada asked in a heart. She was laughing at her husband because she knew she was the one who stole the documents. She had stolen them the previous night. As she was talking to her husband, the documents were on her table. I am very sure. I kept the 2 passports in my briefcase. I put them together with a flight ticket which I bought last week. This is strange, I mean. Totally strange. I don't know how this happened. We have been bad from traveling, and I am sure we can still make the journey after all I've been through. All to get the visas. Look at what is happening. I don't know what is happening to me. It's as if my enemies want my son to die. As said tearfully, calm down, my love. Please, don't trouble yourself too much. One thing is certain, God is on our side, and don't trouble yourself too much. We shall overcome all these challenges. Our son will not die. We will defeat all the enemies working to destroy us. Please stay calm. I am coming to the airport right away to pick you people. We will look for the passport together when we get home. Adad said. She picked her car keys and started driving to the Lagos airport, which was not too far from her place of work. On her way, she bought 2 plates of Joe fries. You are the enemy, and fried chicken for her husband and son. When you shower them with love and affection, they won't know you are the enemy in the house. There will be no reason to suspect me. You deal with them under their very nose, but they can never know you are the one behind all their problems. Ada said in her heart as she drove into the airport. She called her P100. Behind all their problems, husband, and he came out from the airport lounge with his son. Joined her in the car. When they got home, they searched the entire house looking for the travel. They searched the entire house, documents, but they saw nothing. It had disappeared. This is strange. Have never seen this kind of thing before. It happened like magic. I have never seen this kind of. It said, I will apply for another visa. Nothing will stop me from getting treatment for my son abroad, as said, as he hugged it that evening, later at night. When Ad was cooking the kitchen, she brought out the documents and placed them on the gas cooker and bed, all of them to ashes, the visas, the flight tickets, and the passport, all born to ashes. And Ada, at that evening kitchen, when I am done with you, you will never play with a woman like me in your next life. You will run away when you see a woman like me. You will take to your heels when you see a woman called Ada. Ada said as she swept the ashes she swept the kitchen and dumped them in the trash can. When she was done, she picked up her phone and called her king, the gang leader. I have a job for you this night. I have a job for you. Want you to come to our house with your gang. Don't harm anyone, but make sure you steal my husband's phone, his ATM card. You have to come as armed robbers. I will intentionally leave the gate and doors open for you. People, there is a huge amount of money in my husband's account, and I want us to steal it using his phone and ATM card. Once he steals these 2 things, I will give you his PIN and other banking details. You should come around 12 a.m. Ain said, all right, consider it done. Ain said he always liked deals from Aif because it fesses him so much money. Adam went to bed knowing that she had invited AR robbers. Adam went to bed into her husband's home, and Uch went to bed not knowing that AA had invited trouble to the house. Nipa had taken the light and everywhere was dark. The time is now 2:47 a.m. and Akiao was awake. She has slept around 9 p.m. and as she was sleeping she kind of set her brain to respect the armed robbers, but several hours later they had not arrived. What is happening? What on earth is keeping Aki and his gang? I was thinking they would have come by now. It is almost 3 a.m. and they have not come. Are they waiting on daybreak? What is going on? Ada asked herself. She stood up gently and stole. She stood up gently herself. Out of the bed she carried her phone with her. She went into the bathroom to ease herself. It was then that Aki and his gang stored the house. Already the door of the house was not locked, so it was very easy for them to gain access immediately. They started shouting. It came out from the bathroom, and they ordered her to lead them into her husband's room. A has also heard the hum after kidnappers attacked him, the loud noise, and he came up from the master bedroom and went to the store of the house after kidnappers attacked him the other day and kidnapped his son. He bought an iron for himself. He had promised himself to protect his family and never to be in a powerless situation again. Immediately, he got to the store. He brought it out and carefully loaded it with SE bullets. He started coming out of the store carefully. He had it pointedly ready for action. Meanwhile, the armed robbers were in the armed robbers were in private room searching. They didn't need to search much, because that showed them where her husband kept his briefcase, which contained his ATM card and banking details. Although the armed robbers were shouting at she knew they were not going to hammer. They ordered her to the bedroom she shares with her husband, and she took them there. They took his phone and promptly switched it off. They knew there was no cash in the house, and the card was all they needed to wipe his bank account. His gang came out from the bedroom. They knew there was no cash, but they met face to face with A, who was armed. "You are going nowhere this time around. I am fully prepared for you people. I am going to show you the difference between AB and AB. Stop right there. If you should move any inch further, I will delete you," as it said with forceful voice. He quickly sized up the arm rubbers and saw that they were just 3 in number. He looked at their hands to see the weapons they were holding, but he saw nothing. It turns out that Aying and his gang put back their weapons in their waist after they finished searching the bedroom. They just lose guard, since it was only at that they saw at home. Besides, they did not expect any resistance, and there was actually no resistance when they arrived. This appearance with a weapon was just a surprise that hit them below the bell. "Put your hands on your head," and they saw at home. "Kneel down. Don't try to joke with me because I will finish you with one shot. Drop everything in your possession. I can see the irons in your waist. Gently remove them and place them on the floor. Don't try anything funny, because you will see the other side of me if you do. Trust me, I am being gentle with you, but I will change it for you if you dare me." Is a solemn yell. His voice sounded like that of a police officer who was about apprehending thieves. Akin was surprised by the audacity and boldness being displayed by E. He wondered why Ad did not inform him that her husband owned an iron. What he didn't know was that even AD was not aware Akin was busy trying to figure out how to handle the situation. He decided to try and remove his iron from his waist and then attempt shooting easy aim. Put his hand in his W and brought out the iron, but before he got the chance to point it at his opponent, E saw his moves and shot him. As his right hand and the gun fell, when the gun fell from Akin's hand, it went off, and the bullet fell on one of his gang members and he died instantly. Akin started shouting, but is kept ordering him and the remaining gang member to step away from their weapons. In the end, he successfully disarmed them, collected their irons and everything they had stolen from his house. Iza shut the legs of Aki and the other arm robber just two. He also used ropes, make sure they wouldn't stand up to fight him. He also used ropes to tie them up. "I will personally take you people to the police station early in the morning. When next you come into my house, I will advise you to think twice about it because I am not fully prepared to defend my family," it said to the armed robbers. The time was now 5:40 a.m. Who had been hiding finally came out when the time was now everywhere calmed down. She was shocked by what she saw in the living room. The fact that her husband was able to disarm the robbers was very surprising to her. Her plans have failed. "I must confess that you are a strong man. I never knew you have this kind of courage. I am so proud of you," Ada said. But inwardly she was sad, and she knew there was fire on the mountain. She was scared that Akin would say the truth and expose her when he gets to the police station. "I am already calling the police to come and arrest them," Ez said proudly. Ada was visibly shaking after hearing her husband. She didn't know what to do to stop the police from coming because they were already on their way to the house. "All of them will go to jail," Ez said proudly. "Yes, my husband," Ada replied reluctantly. Not long after the police, my husband, Ada replied, arrived in the compound and carried the 3 robbers. "We will question them thoroughly and get every information we need. You will have to come to the police station and officially file a statement we need you to have about what happened here. We must praise you for your bravery. Keep it up," a police officer told a police officer before they drove out of the compound. "Oh my, keep it up, God. I have to do something really quick to stop Asin from telling the police the truth. This must not happen. If he says the truth, my husband will find out. I'm the one behind his problems. I have to stop him at that." Said. At exactly 12 noon, she went to the restaurant to buy delicious fried rice chicken, which she wants to give to Aing when she gets to the police station. Fortunately for her, the police did not see her when they came to her house to pick the arm robbers. Earlier in the day, she was able to disguise and enter the police station undetected. She wore a face cap and IG. She was able to disguise glass, making sure to conceal her identity. She did not go with her car. She took a bus, drew her off close to the police station, and she walked in. Immediately she entered the station. "I want to see a king." The man arrested for armed robbery at that said immediately. She entered the station. The police officer at the counter tried to look at her face, but she kept looking away as if she was inspecting the decorations and frames in the station. "Who are you and why do you want the police?" Officer asked B to see him. "Are you sure you are not one of the armed robbers?" The police officer asked B dismissed his question with a wave of the hand. "What type of question is that?" I said. I will like to see Aiken, and you are asking me if I'm one of the robbers. Even if Aiken was arrested for armed robbery, he still has right and entitled to a liar for his defense. And, that said furiously, she didn't want to be intimidated by the police officer, because if she fails to show confidence, her bubble will blow, and she will be caught. Are you his lawyer? I just asked you to identify yourself and your connection to working, and you are shouting. Stop shouting and tell me who you are, the police officer said. He refused to let Ad into the station until she identified. The police officer said he refused herself. My name is Cynthia, and I am Aim's girlfriend. I have brought food for him. At that said, placing the pack of food on the counter. She told lies about her name. How did you know? Arrested your boyfriend. I still insist you are one of the robbers. You were just lucky to have escaped before Mr. Ale could arrest you the way he arrested the other ones. The policeman said he was standing up to look at her, Dee's face properly, but she was fast and wise. She dipped her hand into her handbag and brought out 500. Zero. He was standing up Nara, and then gently folded it into the policeman's hand. The man came forward and usher into the man came forward police station without asking any other question. Wait here, madame. Let me go and bring Ain from detection. I will be back soon, the police officer said. His character changed instantly towards Ada. He was now attending to her with the speed of light. Because the morning had softened his heart greatly, within a few minutes the policeman had gone to the cell and re-emerged with AI and the other armed robber. Thank you very much. Ada said. She brought out the food and gave it to Ain. However, the police officer insisted Adam must taste the food before Ain will the truth. Is that start eating the truth? Is that Ad had actually poisoned the food after buying from the restaurant? She stayed in her car and packaged it with rat poison. She did not want AI to come out of the station alive. She wanted to eliminate the two of them so that they would not tell the police. She planned the robbery with them. Madame, you have to test the food first. She planned the robbery with before the suspects will eat it. We want to be sure the food is not poisonous, the policeman said. What are you saying? How can I do that to my own boyfriend? I told you he is my boyfriend. They can start eating the food as safe for consumption. I personally bought it at the restaurant on my way to this place. Please go ahead and eat, said. However, the policeman was adamant. He insisted Adam must taste the food. It is the standard practice here, madam. Once you bring food for someone in detention, you must taste the food first. There are not two ways about it. The suspects cannot eat the food unless you taste it. We don't want anything to happen to them until they are charged to court, where they would have their deal with the Lord. So please taste the food, the policeman said. I really don't understand why. You think I will come here to kill my boyfriend? I don't know why I want to kill my own man. Allow them to eat the food, Ada said. The argument was raging and Ada was scared, not knowing what to do. She didn't want to eat the food because of what she put in it. She didn't know she would be asked to also eat the food. It was her first time of visiting someone in detention. She kept on pleading with the policeman to allow Aiken eat the food, but the man refused. Not pedal on this demand. Even the money that gave to him could make him soft pedal this demand. If you are sure you didn't put anything, just take 1 spoon and eat 1 spoon. Sponge is enough. It's not as if I'm asking to eat everything in the food. It is just 1 spoon. To confirm that the food is safe for consumption. If anything happens to the suspect, I will not only be dismissed from service, I will be arrested as well. Please eat 1 spoon from the food. FLS. The policeman said. The police said that decided to take the risk and eat 1 spoon from the poisoned fry. She chewed jello fries and swallowed it. Her heart was beaten as she knew she could possibly die. But there was no way she could leave the police station without tasting the food. She would be arrested if she had refused. Accurately, immediately after Ada tasted the food, Aki and the other roba started eating. Ada started looking for a way to leave the station before the substance begins to work, because she will be arrested for killing them. She had to take her leave immediately. Let me buy water for them. I forgot to bring water, she said. The policeman permitted her. She went outside, but instead of going to buy water, she crossed to the other side of the road, entered a taxi and disappeared from the filling station. After she left the police station, Aki and his fellow gang member finished up the food and started waiting for her to bring water for them. While they were waiting for water, the effect of the substance kicked off. I am feeling somehow I have never felt this way before. After eating it is like I've eaten something that doesn't agree with my belly, Ain said to the police officer in charge. Akin's fellow gang member was also feeling the same way. In fact, the two of them had collapsed on the floor, and the policemen started running helter-skelter in search of what to do. Informed other policemen at the station, and the DPO ordered that the armed robbers be taken to the hospital for treatment. 5 policemen were assigned to take them to the hospital. They were loaded into the police van and rushed to the hospital with immediate effect. Already, they were weak and their spirits were gradually leaving their bodies. Soon they arrived at the hospital. The armed robbers were rushed to the emergency unit. The doctor was called to attend into them. Rushed to the emergency unit, but when he came, he said it was too late. They dead. The substance had damaged vital organs and there is nothing else we can do to help them. Please take them to the mug, the doctor said. After checking the 2 men who laid on 2 hospital beds, he left the emergency unit. Incidentally, it was at the same hospital where Ada came to treat herself. She had told the doctor to declare the armed robbers dead, and that was exactly what he did. Ad did not want the armed robbers to leave the hospital all life. Meanwhile, the police were not after the doctor said, satisfied. The suspect Ed play after the doctor said Aki and his partner were dead on arrival. Are you sure you have checked properly? They might still be alive. They were just talking. Now please, can you check again? One of the police officers said to the nurse who was on duty, Sir, if the doctor says they are dead, he must have checked very well before making the statement. The doctor could not have confirmed them dead. If they are not, please shift and give us a little space so we can prepare them for the mug. The not said, but the policeman rejected the idea. Somehow one of the policemen strongly believed the armed robbers were still alive, so he rejected the idea of taking them to the mug. Don't touch them, we will take them to another hospital, he said. Anne was still at the, he called his colleagues in hospital when the policeman left. In her mind the problem had been taken care of. She was not aware that the policeman took the armed robbers to another hospital. The doctor treated her that with a strong anti-poison. Her case was mild because she took only 1 spoon from the poisoned food. She was discharged that same day, and she went home to rest. When the policeman arrived at the second HPL hospital, a doctor quickly revived Akin. When the policeman arrived at his partner, I said it. I knew they were still alive. The policeman who had been suspicious said, They lucky you came here quickly. They can still make it, the doctor said as he started treating the 2 men. Not long after they opened their eyes, you guys are the luckiest people on earth. You were given rat substance. You were given rat substance was almost over for you too, the doctor said when Ain regained consciousness. Thank you very much, Dr. Ain said. A few days later they were discharged from the hospital. Since that woman tried to kill me, I have no option. I have no option that to expose all the evils she has been doing against her family. I am going to tell the police everything. I'm going to tell them all the deals I have done for her. I thought she came to the police station to help me, not knowing she was there to kill me. I am going to teach her a lesson. I am ready to sacrifice my freedom to make sure she spends the rest of her life in jail, Aiken said to his partner when they were back in police detention. In her mind, she'll be thinking we are now dead without knowing what is coming her way. Imagine how the doctor ordered for us to be taken to the Muiri even when we are still breathing. I am suspecting that our dad is working in collaboration with the evil doctor. She must have paid him to get rid of us. Thank God for that police officer who was there to reject the idea. Now at this my turn to show AD difference between AB and AB, as her husband said. She was the one who invited us to attack her house but wants us to suffer the consequences alone. She even wants us dead. Such a wicked woman. Later that evening, AI requested to see the station DPO and his request was granted because he said he wanted to make a big confession that would lead to the arrest of a dangerous criminal. I want to confess, Ain said as soon as he was led into the DPU's office. The woman who tried to poison me and my Ain said colleague is dangerous and rich. In fact, she is the wife of the man whose house we went to attack. She invited us to do it and told us what to steal. I will give you all the information you need to nail her. He went on to reveal every secret to the police chief, beginning from the first job he did for Ada, including the fact that she was behind the kidnapping of Uch, her son. Are you sure about this? The DPO asked. I am so sure, sir. Ain replied. The DPO read his men, and they started driving to Ad house to arrest her. Ada had gone out the supermarket to buy bread. When the police officers arrived in the compound, they had narrowly missed her. The only person who was at home was her husband. He was arrested after taking Uch to the PFU. Ao was eating Granite's hospital. The doctor had instructed that Uch must remain in the hospital for close supervision. Ao was in the living room eating Granites he had bought on his way back from the hospital. He was surprised when he saw Policemen in the compound. The DPO entered the building with his men and informed A they were there to arrest his wife. At their why, what did she do, is they ask, with surprise on his face. He or his wife has never been arrested for any crime in the past. It was therefore shocking to him that the police were looking for his wife. Your wife is responsible for the armed robbery incident that happened in this house, sir. She was also the one who hired kidnappers to kidnap your son. You are joking, right? My wife is a gentle woman. She's not capable of hurting anyone, let alone me, her husband, or our son. Ouch. I don't believe what you just said. It is not true. My wife could not have invited armed robbers into her own home. This can simply not happen. He said. He continued to eat his greynuts absent-mindedly. We understand this could be difficult for you to believe, but it is true. Your wife is responsible for the two incidents we just mentioned. The 60 million NRA which was collected from you as Raymom for also went to her pockets. She wanted the morning. That was why she connived with the criminal to kidnap your son. You may not believe it, but it's true. Your wife is an accomplice in crime. And we have come to arrest her. Please show us where she is. Except you want us to search the whole house, the DPO said. His gentle man was turning to anger. He was surprised that A didn't believe what he was saying but was instead defending his wife. Even if I want to believe you, why would my wife invite armed robbers into her home? Why would she do that knowing fully well that any of us could be harmed? What evidence do you have to prove that she did such a terrible thing against me? I will not believe you unless you present a concrete evidence against her. Is said. The DPO asked one of his men to bring in Aging with his fellow gang member. They were kept in the van outside, and guided by policemen. In a few minutes, the policeman entered the room with the tips, as AK recognized them. The DPO. The policeman entered the room, produced Ain's phone and showed her the conversation that T had with her his wife, before Uch was kidnapped, and also the messages from her the night before the robbery incident. Ain also attested to all that the DPO said, and confessed everything to Uch. Ain was left speechless after checking the messages, and seeing that they were truly from his wife. He almost collapsed out of emotional distress, but he was still able to hold himself firmly. The policeman stowed the apartment but was nowhere to be found. They left, but with a promise to keep tracking Ada until she was arrested. Meanwhile, Ada had finished buying apples from the supermarket and was walking home. She did not go with her car because the supermarket was just a stone's throw from the house. On her way back, she noticed an unusual activity in the house. When she got to the Gatan was opening the gate for the policemen, who were already leaving. Ada ran away from the gate, and he herself, inside a small restaurant just opposite the house. She only came out when the policeman had left. I am not going into the house. I think my husband may have discovered the truth, and he might be walking with the police to get me arrested. That is not going to happen, Ada said. She moved farther away from the streets and went everything she needs, including to one of our secret houses in the secret of Lagos as a real estate tycoon. Ada had many houses, some of which were not occupied by anyone. The house is well furnished and she often goes there to chew when she has problems. And she doesn't want to stay at home. Everything domestic stuff are available in the secret house. She went there and slept peacefully, as if she was not worried about the fact that the police came to look for her. She knew her husband would be calling her. She switched off her phone the next morning. She used the secret phone number to call the lawyer in charge of our real estate company. I want you to go to the house. She used the secret phone number where my husband lives. I want you to give him a quick notice. Tell him he must vacate the house in 24 hours because the owner wants to make use of it, Ada said. Are you sure about this, Em? We are talking about your husband. Are you sure you are not making a mistake? He will be stranded. Besides, 24 hours is too short for him to move out of the house. We also need to refund him his money, since his rent is yet to expire. Do you think you should reconsider this move? The lawyer asked. If you don't want to work for me, let me know so I can look for another lawyer. I am sending you money right now to pay him back. I want him out of the building, period. Threw everything out of the house, including my own property at that, said the lawyer. Had no option but to carry out the instructions. When the lawyer informed Easy he had to leave the apartment, he was, where do you want me to get a house in? I am going nowhere. 24 hours. I am going nowhere is said. You are moving in 24 hours. The house belongs to us and we have the right to eject you anytime we want. It is our house, not yours. By the time we return here tomorrow, I don't want to see you and your family, the lawyer said as he leaves the house, despite putting up a strong fight. A was frustrated when the lawyer informed him he had to leave the house. He picked his car keys and drove out of the compound. He just wanted to drive around the city and forget his troubles. However, due to what he was going through emotionally, he had an accident and he was rushed to the hospital that was in a secret house, enjoying wine in bed while her husband was in the hospital. He had an accident suffering. Hey, African to by C tribe, how are you all doing? Thank you. And thank outro you one more time for staying around with me. Please like the story, share to your loved ones, subscribe if you have not. You can also support me by buying me coffees using the link on my bio or the link on the description of this video. You can as well. Buy me super things till I bring the part 2 of this story your way. It is a goodbye from here and God bless you.